Hey everybody. So instead of typing up a huge, really long Facebook post or comment, whenever I had wanted to know if people were interested in learning how to do what's called TTM or through the mail autograph requests, just figured I'd make a video, make it a whole lot easier, and that way I can, just kind of blow through everything so it's not confusing at all, and I can show you some physical examples of some of the things that I'll be referencing. But first, before I get into the details, I just want to say that autograph collecting has been a hobby of mine for a really long time. I can remember asking or requesting autographs from baseball players back when I was a kid, when I was in elementary school, and it was a lot of fun. Coming home every day and waiting for my mailbox, waiting for the mail to come in, and seeing if anybody had written back. And surprisingly, a lot of people that I wrote to would write back legitimate hand signed autographs, which is pretty cool, in my opinion. These folks, they're pretty busy, pretty well known folks that this day and age still respond to fan mail. This isn't the 1950s anymore, but some people really take care of their fans. So just wanted to throw that out there. I've been doing this for a while, learned a lot of things along the way, things that I kind of had to pick up as I went along. So instead of making you go through the painstaking process of learning as you go, I'm just going to kind of tell you what I've learned in the past 15 or so years that I've been doing this, and just kind of give you a good foundation, a good layout for what to expect or what you need to do to prepare for autograph collecting through the mail. So there are a lot of things I'll kind of be going through today, just kind of showing you like how to send, where to send to, who signs and who doesn't, what kinds of things to send in the mail, postage, all that jazz. And sending overseas, that's a big one too. So I'm going to try and do my best to cover all the bases. So there are a couple different kinds of ways to go about sending in for autographs or sending autograph requests. One of those is domestic or international. So the majority of my autograph requests that I do are from people who live or work within the United States. So that's the continental United States, and then also Puerto Rico, Hawaii, and Alaska. And the reason why I do that is because it's a lot cheaper postage wise. So what I would start out doing is sending 3x5 cards or index cards, much like this, maybe one, two, at the most three, to the folks that I'd want to get an autograph from. The reason why I do this is because when I was a kid, I sent a Derek Jeter rookie card to New York Yankee Stadium back when I was about 8 or 9 years old, and guess what? I still haven't gotten it back. So it's been almost 20 years, and my Derek Jeter rookie card's somewhere. Someone might have it. I don't know. But the purpose is to send something that you're not really worried that if I don't get this back, it's not a huge deal. So I would recommend starting with 3x5 cards or index cards, or even just like a blank piece of paper, and then kind of work your way up. That's what I started doing, and then I eventually worked myself into sending photographs that I printed out myself on photo paper and sending it to them that way. But I usually start out, if I don't know if a person's consistent with signing autographs through the mail, I start with an index card. So first and foremost, I want to show you the essentials of what you need in order to request an autograph through the mail, especially in the United States. So first and foremost, you need to get a notepad. It doesn't matter what size or what color, just something that you can write a handwritten note. I stress this big time. I have written every single letter I've ever written to anyone has always been handwritten. I don't know if this has a major impact on whether or not you get a response, but it definitely doesn't hurt, and it does definitely help. There are people that actually read the letters. Some people are really, really, really famous. I mean, A-listers, they don't have time to read everything, especially if they're actively working, especially in Vegas, New York City, Los Angeles, what have you. They just can't read everything. So they have an assistant organize everything for them so they can just sign it all, get it shipped, and then boom, boom goes the dynamite. So I always stress writing a handwritten letter. Now, what's in the letter is up to you. If it's somebody that you really really like I wrote a really long letter to Phil Collins, and I doubt he read it, but I got a nice signed photo from Phil Collins after I sent the letter. People love seeing handwritten notes. It shows that you've taken time and effort to, put effort into writing this. It's not just some like, hello, I'm a huge fan of your work and blah 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 blah, things that can go on anybody's letter. Make it a little personal, but it doesn't have to be a book. Make it about a paragraph, two at the most. Keep it brief, but be specific about why you're requesting an autograph. So I usually put Mr. or Miss just to be formal, put my name at the bottom, and then I fold it up and put it in the letter. So I've been starting to use about 5x7 envelopes. I also use more smaller standard size envelopes to put 3x5 cards. These ones are for photos. Um, as you can see, this one's going to the US. You see a forever stamp, and this is what's called a global stamp, and we'll get into that later. So one of these letters is staying in the US, one is going overseas. Another thing that you must have, so one, notepad. Always have a notepad. Two, with the envelopes that you get, you always have to put a return envelope. I cannot stress this enough too. Very, very important. It's essential to put your name, your address, and if you're sending it overseas, you have to put USA because you can't just assume that they're going to know that's from the United States. You might get lucky and they might, put two and two together and realize like, oh, NY, that stands for New York, or PA stands for Pennsylvania, and they'll write it on there for you. So always put USA if you're sending overseas. You need to have one of these. If you're sending within the United States, you need to put it's called an SASE. It stands for self-addressed stamped envelope. If you're sending overseas, you don't necessarily put a stamp in the upper corner. You send cash, but I'll get to that later. So if you're sending within the United States, you need to have an SASE, your name and address, and then I'm out of stamps, but I would put a stamp up in this corner, then fold it up and put it in the letter, the envelope that is addressed to the person that you're writing to. So number one, notepad to write letters and requests, or LORs. In the business they call it LORs, letters of request. Two, you need to have one envelope to put the address on of the person who you're sending to, and two, you need to have the letter or the envelope of return, the SASE, with a stamp already in it if it's in the United States. Three, I don't know what number we're on, need to put whatever you want to get signed. I would prefer to, if this is the first person I'm trying to get, or I've never tried this person before, use an index card. If you've sent to them before and you get a success from them that's, they wrote on whatever it is that you sent them, then start sending photographs. This is a photo of Stephen Root that I had. This is from the movie Dodgeball. He personalized this to me. I sent a photograph of Mr. Incredible to Craig T. Nelson. He did the voice of Mr. Incredible. He signed that and sent it back. So and this was after I'd already sent or known that these folks will sign what you send them. Not everybody's that way. Sometimes you get lucky. Sometimes you get what's called a pre-signed photo. And that's another thing I'll get to eventually. So the essentials are a letter that is handwritten, an envelope with your address on it, as detailed as you can on where you live, and a stamp if it's in the US. And if it's overseas, you put about $2, maybe $3 in cash. I know, like, putting cash in the mail is a big taboo, a big no-no, but trust me, it's worth it. And I'll give you an example of that later. So that's really the basics. That's really what you need. Now, I know I left out the most important part, which is the addresses. Like, okay, yeah, I get it. I put my name, put in a letter, put a stamp on both envelopes, but who am I sending to and how do I get these addresses? Well, that's really what I'm here to tell you. This is the really big thing that it took me a while to get. There are places that you can go, websites that are basically forums for people who collect autographs through the mail. They have addresses from people all over the world, from any and every celebrity field you can imagine. I mean, I've sent to astronauts, I've sent to scientists, authors, political figures, sports figures, acting, celebrities, you name it. I mean, I've reached pretty far across the spectrum of collecting through a lot of these forums and websites. There is one that is free. It's called fanmail.biz. Fanmail.biz. And it's it is how it's spelled or how it sounds. That is free. The problem with fanmail.biz is it doesn't give you the success rate of the address that you're using, and it sometimes takes a while to update, so it might not be as relevant. There is another website that I use religiously. It's called startiger.com, STARTIGER.com. You can do a 1 week free trial for free and then decide if you want to try it again. And they usually give you an offer of 99 cents for 1 month after you do your free trial to keep you going. And they have the largest database of celebrity addresses. Current, they know if people are on Broadway and how long they're going to be. They're very, very, very detailed on who sends and who does not. I've been using Star Tiger for the past 2 years, and I've gotten hundreds of responses. I mean, hundreds of responses. I get one or two every other day, and it's amazing. I mean, this is the most comprehensive forum of autograph collecting out there. And if it wasn't for Star Tiger, I have no idea how many I'd have. Probably a lot less. And the quality would not be as great. And fortunately, I've gotten really lucky with a few people that I've sent to in the past couple years that no longer sign through the mail. So there's an incentive to getting on this boat as quick as possible because the trend nowadays is for people not to sign as much. It's unfortunate, it's just the way it is. You know, they just can't keep up with mail. For instance, I sent a letter to Bryan Cranston, the lead, the dad from Malcolm in the Middle, played in the movie The Infiltrator, and of course, most famously, played Heisenberg on Breaking Bad. I sent a letter to Bryan Cranston while he was doing a play in London, and I sent two 3x5 cards to him, and he sent two signed cards back, personalized to me, after I made a Seinfeld reference with him. Sent them both back, came back in an envelope with, you guessed it, a British stamp that had been flown overseas. Pretty awesome, right? Now, keep in mind, stamps are getting more expensive. They're about 50 cents a piece, and you'd need about two for a regular domestic shipping. You know, in the United States, you'd need one to get there, one to get back. So you're spending almost exactly $1, not including materials, to send out to them. However, let me just tell you this. So these two 3x5 cards by themselves cost me like half a penny or less each. I send this to Bryan Cranston, which cost me roughly $3. So about $1.25 to get there, and I gave him $2 or $3 to have it sent back. These two cards are worth about $50 to $60 a piece. So it cost me roughly $4 to send that letter to Bryan Cranston. He sent back over $100 worth of autographs. It's a no-brainer. Another example. So I sent domestically in here to Boston Pops, to get John Williams, the conductor and composer of Harry Potter, Jurassic Park, Indiana Jones, Star Wars. I mean, Jaws. You name it. He's done it. You know John Williams. Yeah. So I sent to Boston Pops, and they sent back what's called a pre-signed, which is hand-signed, but not the item that you sent. Pre-signed photo, hand-signed. He actually stood in front and wrote his name on this card. Sent this card. Cost me $1. In fact, it might have even been less. It might have been 98 cents because I think it was maybe 48 or 49 cents per stamp at the time. And I got one signed 3x5 card back. This is worth about $75 by itself because it's really easy to mat and frame. Cost me $1. They sent back about $70 worth of autographs. So between $5 spent between these three autographs, we're looking at about $175 worth of autographs. That's a huge investment if that's kind of what you're looking for. Another example, I sent this to Las Vegas. Celine Dion is doing a show right now. I received this back like maybe 6 or 7 months after she was done. Celine Dion, hand signed. This is what I sent her, and this is what she signed. Robert Redford. I'm telling you guys, A-listers will respond. They will write back to you. And it's not just celebrity, like actors and actresses. I sent this to Peter Laird, who's one of the original creators of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, obviously. And I sent him some cards and asked him to do some sketch work for me. Well, he went above and beyond the sketch work. He drew me 3 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and signed the bottom and dated them. So again, that cost me $1 to send that to him, and he sent back 3 hand-done sketches. That's huge. And not everybody does that. You're not going to be able to get that lucky every time. But if you keep doing it over and over again, eventually you will get some really great autographs. So if you feel like you don't really want to join a forum, I totally understand. Being on there, it's like Facebook. You kind of have to check it every day and see what's new. But what I have done over the years is instead of just, I currently have a membership with them now, but I used to just do the free trial and basically go back because you can go back in time at people's successes. Like, hey, it took me this long to get this person's autograph, and this is the address I sent to. This is how long it took for me to get it back. I mean, the amount of information and data in this base is crazy. I mean, if we had this much information about cancer, it'd be cured instantly. But these people are really, really dedicated. They've been doing this for years and years and years, and they're really, really, really good at it. So I would recommend joining that forum. However, if you don't want to, that's okay. I can create a shortcut for you. I've created an address book over the past 2.5, 3 years, compiling all the addresses of people who I've either sent to or are planning to send to. And it's about 75 pages, 75 Word documents, all compiled of people who I've sent to and their current addresses, or at least current at the time. So if you're interested in that, I can make that available to you. Because of the amount of time and effort that I put into it, I really just I'd not like to just give it out. Um, I'll make it super cheap. I'm $5, $5, and you got the entire address book that I have at my disposal. I mean, and I add stuff all the time, but it's 75 pages, roughly 6 or 7 addresses per page. So we're talking hundreds and hundreds of addresses, and we're talking the most popular people you can imagine. I mean, I've gotten stuff back from Shirley MacLaine. I'm just looking here in my book here. This is a collection of all the stuff I've gotten through the mail over the years. Sophia Loren, Jonathan Banks, uh, Marion Ross, Ann Blythe, Julian Glover from Indiana Jones, Matthew Modine from Stranger Things and Full Metal Jacket. So it's out there. They're out there. It's opportunity that is at your disposal at this point in time, and I don't know how long it's going to be until people stop doing this. Hopefully never, because it's pretty cool pastime, pretty cool hobby. But I mean, you can even get this is I know I've put stuff on Facebook about this. This is a handwritten letter I got from one of the last remaining prisoners from Alcatraz, and I'm currently talking with him pretty repeatedly. People are out there. They really they don't mind the fan mail. In fact, some really really like it. There's some folks that I know really treasure the fan mail that they get, and they love reaching out to their fans and hearing from them. And so sometimes it's as simple as just writing a letter and saying, hey, could you sign this card or sign this photo? And I've had things back in like a week. Like it took them just a day to turn it around, send it right back. So what I want is for you to know that it is very simple. It's a pretty easy process, and once you get into a rhythm and a routine with doing it, it's going to be real easy. So I'm just going to review for you. If you're sending to the United States, you need an SASE. It looks like this, has your name and address on it, except it has a forever flag stamp or whatever stamp you have that has enough buying power to get it across the US. Fold that up with a folded letter and whatever you want signed. Put that in an envelope, and eventually will look like this. This is what I'm about to send out. This is Bob Newhart. Great address. He signs very frequently. So this is going to the U.S. If it's going overseas to another, if it's going to Australia, England, Russia, I've sent to South America, Pele's down in Brazil. So I've sent all over the place. And surprisingly, I've gotten a lot back. Jackie Chan from China, he sends back from Hong Kong. This one is getting sent to Jeffrey Rush. He was in Pirates of the Caribbean and The King's Speech, a bunch of other great films. So this is a global shipping stamp. Has all of his information, so there's a free address for you. And the country that it's going to, and then inside is, I put $2 in cash, some photos that I have, and the letter, and an envelope with my address on it. and denotes that I am from the United States of America. So if there are any other questions that you have, I'd feel free to ask them. I'd love to answer them as best I can. Um, there are a couple things also that are kind of bonus. One is called via venue. That would be sending to like a sports complex or a theater slash concert hall where someone is going to be at temporarily, mostly musicians for the most part, or actors and actresses who are on Broadway or other theaters. Those addresses are more short term, and some of them are in the address book that I have, but those are denoted. I remove a lot of the addresses that are old or kind of stale. And in my address book, I have the ones that I've sent to, which are bolded, and the ones that I've gotten success from, which are in green. Unfortunately, you don't always get a hand signed autograph. I have been mistaken and been disappointed in times past when I've gotten autographs from some folks that I thought was legitimate and actually wasn't. Um, so, for example, let's see, I gotta find. I got one back from Kiefer Sutherland, and unfortunately, his was not hand signed, but rather was added somewhere in here. It's secretarial. So, a secretarial autograph means that it was signed by a secretary. So some of these people really, really busy, can't respond to fan mail. So rather than the mail piling up and piling up, they have a secretary who signs stuff for them. I don't know why they do it. I think it's just to give people what they think is an autograph because they don't care that it's real or not. I care that it's real. I mean, and everyone else that collects autographs probably cares that it's real too. So I'm not really sure why they do it, but they do it. Another thing that you could get back is a what's called a facsimile autograph or a preprint. Preprints to me, I think, are even worse because they are a photocopy of an autograph that looks real and is actually from the person's signature, but it is not signed on the item that you have physically. So it's basically just a fake autograph or a printed autograph. And those, I just got one from Barry Gibb, a former frontrunner from the Bee Gees, and it looked good. But as I took a look at the glossy photo, I could tell it wasn't actually hand signed. So that pretty much exhausts all the information that I have. And if you're interested at all in the address book, just let me know. And if you have like maybe you just want to send to one or two people, you can ask me if I have their address, and I can just give you that for free. There's no, um, I won't like charge anything for a couple addresses, but I would definitely implore you to explore StarTiger.com if you're interested in it. Everyone who's serious about it has a membership with Star Tiger. They have, I think they boast like over 150,000 addresses of famous people, and yeah, it's crazy. I mean, WWE stars, politicians, anyone you can think of, they have an address for. So, yeah. So this has been, holy crap, 22 and a half minutes long of me talking about autographs. But some of you said you were interested. So if you've gotten this far, awesome, and good luck to you. I want to hear your success stories, and hopefully you can build up a nice stockpile of autographs, and you can have a nice binder like this that you can share with your friends, put on display, sell, and make some money, or put money in your college fund or your kids' college fund, however old you might be. So yeah, thanks for watching, and good luck.